Do you get any side shots? Do you get any of my cool hair?
No.
I know. I went to so much trouble. There, that's cool.
Boss, bro. Is it still that dodgy spot?
Yeah,
there?
it's dodgy. I went and did this for the podcast, and you didn't get it. Nope. Can't you get some zoom on the red?
I'll mention it.
Yeah.
Tyler, please can we get a close up?
Yeah.
Roger's hair. Great to have you on the show, bud. Roger Goode. I always have this thing like Radio 101. Do you introduce the guest and what they do, or do you just say, welcome to the show, because on YouTube, where we are, and iTunes, the description says who you are?
Well, yeah, and also I've had that dilemma too, because depending on who the guest is, would it be insulting to have to introduce, you know what I mean? Like you got Derek Watts from Carte Blanche to South Africa. You shouldn't have to. Well, as you know, you know what I mean?
He's an institution.
Like, I'd feel like I'm offending him.
Because
you know what I mean?
Everyone knows who Roger Goode is. I've traveled with you, and I've seen how people flock to you. You know, your energy. But I also have seen times when they've brought a guest into studio and you don't know who that person is. No. And you're like, well, and you look at me, or you're looking at, well, anyway. Yeah. But it's good to have you, bro. How are you keeping? Are you well?
Very good? Yeah, no, very good. Jeepers, since I saw you, it's amazing. Life, you can never predict life. You can never, and I don't know what you're supposed to learn from all of this. I imagine possibly on your deathbed. Yeah. I keep thinking that perhaps on your deathbed, you sit there and you go, oh, all right. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, I got it.
That spark moment.
Yeah.
But you turned 35 the other day.
Yeah.
And you're still relevant, bro. I mean, like, to be honest, you and I go way back. We've been friends for a long time, but you've managed since the Saturday Surgery days.
Sure.
The DJ scene, the music, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
How have you just managed it, bud? Your energy's insane.
Thank you. That's
your work ethic is incredible, and the quality of work is also just next level. I mean, the stuff on Metro is quality. Can I tell people that's you?
Sure.
Sorry,
you see there.
Now.
No, but now that's something that would need explaining, because I actually no one knows about that.
So let's hear it. I mean, because at the moment you're station producer, according to Google. Yeah. Of Metro FM, which is one of the biggest radio stations in the country. Yeah,
it's the biggest. It's
probably one of the coolest.
It's definitely, and it's also just the reach, the power it has in a time where radio is under huge pressure to, like DJs, to stay relevant, to keep reinventing itself. They've just got this magic. They know exactly who their audience is. They know exactly what the peeps want. It's a very difficult thing to get right, irrespective of radio or any person who's in the media business, or in fact any brand.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you're the marketing manager of any brand in the year 2022 now, you're under huge pressure.
Good luck.
To forget market research, just to spend money, trying to figure out who you're talking to.
Also, cancel culture.
What is the opposite of cancel culture? We're having this conversation yesterday. What is that? It's not subscribe. You would
like subscribe to the show.
Activate. What is opposite of cancel? There's a good question for your feed on the comments. What is the opposite of cancel culture? I won't get cancelled. I'll have the opposite effect. Anyway, I digress. It's a good one.
It's a good one because at this day and age, I think everyone is so quick to jump on that cancel, unsubscribe button. In general, whatever it is, if it's a product like a chain of a business chain that recently said they won't employ certain people, boycott.
My one is comedians. Comedians is whenever anybody talks about cancel culture, would be actors like Kevin Spacey or whatever. But a comedian, to me, it's outrageous that a comedian should get cancelled. I think the very nature of purchasing the ticket, the very fact that you buy the ticket and you're going to go and watch a show, that almost should have a disclaimer in its essence that you are going to go. You're going to hear. You should know who you're going to go watch. You're going to hear things that are outrageously offensive, but in that space, there should be no.
Cancel culture.
You should.
You should have the freedom to express yourself.
If you don't then don't go watch that. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's lines, if there's GBV-based offences or racism or any of that. I'm not going to go. I'm not. Yeah, but 100%. I love comedians. I love comedy, so that's always strikes me. Anyway, sorry, where were we?
You were talking about how you are actually the secret voice of Metro.
Yes. Okay. So it's something. I mean, it's something. So I've always been obsessed with making radio shows, but I've always been fascinated with the behind the scenes stuff. A simple thing people wouldn't know, like we call it imaging, but really what it is just the little sound effects that you hear for things. So a simple example would be when they do the news on anything, on CNN, it'll be like, it'll be whatever, the branding, the straps, the moment thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's time for. As we call it imaging, and in radio, modern radio, it's a huge part of a station. You know what I mean? Your
identity.
Jeepers. Do a sports report, for example. CS, it's what you came to fame doing sports reports with Gareth, whatever. So when CS is going to do his sports report, it'll go time for the.
We had some epic ones.
We had some episodes, but I mean that they were called imaging. So. That's what I do. I do that for. I manage the whole program.
So give us a taste. Come on.
And then I do that. It's just a weird thing. I also do that American Guy's voice.
But you do them so well.
Well, I don't know. I think people walk up to me like, I always thought he was big, black, like Idris Elba, you know? And he's like, Metro FM. You know, he comes in, the touchdown with Tebow Touch. You know?
Do you ever answer the phone like that? You must be tempted.
That's so funny. That's so funny. What I did do with one of the program managers a couple of years ago is I used to he'd phone me and I'd answer it and I'd talk to him in that voice and then I'd give the phone to Roger. So I'd be like, hello. And he'd be like,
this guy living in my basement.
Hey, Roger. I'm like, no, he's not available. He's on the toilet. And then that's, you know what I mean? It's like, would you like to talk to him? Hey, Roger, there's some creep on the phone. And then, hold on. Hi. Sorry about that. I don't know. He's a nuisance. He answers my phone. I tell him not to. You know. And then I realized that it's all real. There's 7 of them. One of them's a woman. Her name's Regina. She's fabulous, darling. She really is.
So this is what's going on in Roger Goode's head at the moment. That he brings them to life.
Yeah.
You bring them to life.
Yeah, well, do you know what it is? I remember when you first start out as a radio DJ, programming people who ran at the suits, they'd be terrified to give you a time slot where anybody's listening until they've had a chance to evaluate you and go, okay, he's got potential.
Graveyard.
So you get the graveyard.
Yeah.
You get the shows where they don't really, like I got the Sunday show from 10 to 1 for years, and what they didn't realize in South Africa, which I actually only learned and discovered, is that Sunday night, particularly with like a massive, cool, like street urban culture, that's Friday night.
Yeah.
That is Friday night. It's the biggest night. And we were playing just by chance, myself, Harrell, Solco, the Soul Candy guys. We none of it was this uncharted territory, really. We were playing this sort of deep groove, this soulful, sexy, like me, almost.
Was that housey sort
of?
It
was a house, deep house sound, but it wasn't the sort of mainstream Euro techno, monotonous sort of stereotypical fist pump. It had a more of a sophistication to it, and that I think that is how I developed. I mean, I hate segregating markets, but in this country, you'd be stupid not to be able to, analyze markets. And like in black culture, I'm recognized and I'm respected, and it's that to me is I think the greatest achievement I've ever been able to pull off in this country, considering the history and everything. Do you know what I mean? Black people look at me. I don't know. It's music. Music is
music.
Like, it
transcends.
It does really, truly does.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they give you the graveyard show, and what they didn't realize was it was massive. It's something even the research companies wouldn't worry about doing any market research at the time because it's like dead air. Where are we? I've completely veered off.
No, so you have a little bit, but you've given me the Metro FM stuff, and we've given Metro quite a bit of love.
Yes,
and it's obviously something that's a huge part of your life right now, because eventually at some point Roger Goode is going to be moving into this space where he's creating his own content. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're doing that now.
No, sure. But
I'm saying to have the freedom, because I think that if we dial it back to where you started with the music, and when I first came across the music Roger Goode, I was like, this guy's so talented. That track. I mean, the whole country, even in the world, it was buzzing.
So this is just on the sly. Soul Candy, which is a label I've mentioned just now, but anybody watching this that's into the music industry in this country will know. Soul Candy is like the Defected. It's an institute, and they've branched off. They had the Spring Fiesta. They've got the events. They've got the schools. But the core has always been the label. Sergio and Harrell Solka,
yep.
Very, very, very interesting, clever, super clever guys, and Soul Candy is going through a massive revival at the moment. I probably should. I'm not a spokesperson for the brand, so I'd encourage you to follow them on the gram. But what they're doing is now, if ever there was a time now to. I mean, it's not that they went. It's just the players are all getting really excited about signing artists and about getting the label engine rolling.
Nice.
And if ever there was a time to do it, it's now. You look at Kasango, you look at, I mean, Coffee's obvious, but like, you know, all of the guys, Da Capo, Shimza, Temba, all of them, they might as well buy houses in LA, doing shows in Vegas, New York, they're all over the world. And it's the sound that is specifically unique. I'm a piano aside, Afrotech. There's this unique sound and there's so much of it coming out of this country. Even this year in Ibiza, if you listen to any of the DJ sets that were going on, there's a predominant sound that I mean, I won't get into it.
Yeah,
bore you with the technicalities, but it is a South African sound. And
yeah.
if ever there was time, so anyway, long story short, I've been having really, really serious conversations with the label managers, and I've said to them, you know, I really want to get back into just dedicating my time to releasing just music. It's actually something I really love doing. The problem is, and some people will disagree with this, but I've never been good at being a jack of all trades. Just the way I'm wired, I can do, despite the ADHD and all the meds that I'm on. Well, actually, funnily enough, having the medication has actually steered me onto a thing where I can concentrate on one thing at a time. But I decided radio. Let's throw everything into radio and see what can come of it. And it was a bit of a risk but what I got out of it is I think I've developed like a really unique brand. You know what I mean? Like
completely.
And then, but I want to get back into making music. So anyway, that's
where
it's big time, and that's my next. This is where we're going at the moment, which is really exciting. Really exciting.
Still in the dance scene.
I don't know really. I just want to. I mean, I love listening to all types of music.
Yeah.
Like I love. Jeepers. I mean, if you listen to our house, if you go to our house, and you know the audiophile side of me, we've got sound. I mean, I've lost all my money investing it in sound systems, AV or home automation, theatre surround. Am I talking? Aren't you supposed to? This is a dialogue.
Listening to you, exactly.
Monologue.
No,
what were you thinking,
great.
inviting me onto this? This is insane.
I've been dying to have you on.
I said to my wife, like, is he on drugs? Like, this is mad. Yeah, so anyway, long story short, we listened to a lot of radio stations, and I found a couple of stations that are in Europe, in Paris, where, and I think I've seen where radio might actually be going, where it really is going back to the core of what it was, which is music.
So is there still hope for radio? Because you know how many people come up to me and say, you know, CS, like, you know, radio isn't the same since you left, and, you know, radio isn't the same. But I think there's still potential for it to sort of come back, don't you think, or evolve or find its space? Or do you think it's purely down to management and people who are pulling the strings who don't actually know what they're doing?
Okay, jeepers, we can get into this. So on a corporate level, to me, it seems that there are a lot of people that are managing these commercial companies that don't actually come. They don't even come from broadcasting. So, and I can understand that. I mean, you can.
But let me just say, just to interrupt you, there are people that know what they're doing. So
Yes.
there are a select few of old school
Yes.
who know what they're doing.
Yes, and they would say the same thing. They would say that there's a lot of people now that are involved in managing these businesses, but they actually don't. They shouldn't be in broadcasting.
Yeah.
Because broadcasting, ultimately, what we're doing, even this, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And to me, I think, okay, let's stay away from the business side of it.
Sure.
Let's talk about the future of radio,
Yeah.
or the future of, the end of the day, to me, it's always been, it's rock and roll. It's entertainment. It's like, when last did you switch the radio on and listen to a DJ? No, they're not even DJs. They're not real DJs. When last did you listen to somebody sitting on the other side of that broadcast do something that actually made you laugh out loud hysterically? So funny that you had to repeat it at a dinner. You're like, oh my goodness, you don't believe what I heard today. When last did you listen to something on a radio show that made you late for a meeting because you couldn't get out of the car because you had to actually say, I can't tell you.
That's been many, many years.
I cannot, I can list some of the names of people that have done that for me, but
when you don't want to miss the link because you've been waiting since the top of the hour at the end of the news bulletin to hear what the joke or the line is going to be, and they drop it. And
even just listening to somebody talk to you about something, even a personal aspect of their lives that was just so endearing and fascinating or funny or entertaining that you actually, and that's the problem is it's lost it's a show. Put on the show. Where's the fireworks? The can dances.
The storytellers are also
It's
few
gone.
and far between.
It's very few and far between. It's this garbage where they'll like play a stupid game. It's like guess the thing in the room, or it's just nonsense. And it's a lot of the shows I listen to, and anybody listening to this would not be able to disagree with it. To me, when I listen to a lot of radio shows, it sounds like you're listening to someone doing their admin. It's like they're babysitting the room. They're just babysitting it. They're playing the song. Then they've got to maybe say something to bridge the song to the advert break. Then come back, play the sweeper. now this moron's whatever. Now you're listening to this moron. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say? It's just. I mean, you might as well automate it. And that's where I'm trying to full circle it back to the radio shows that I'm enjoying listening to, where you've got people who are really passionate about music, almost DJs themselves. That's another problem. Who's scheduling this garbage?
Well, that's
you listen to a radio show. I want to listen to music that's been curated by somebody who actually loves listening to music, who isn't just fulfilling some kind of quota.
I remember in my university days, back at Tux FM, the music manager sometimes when a new album dropped, slept at the station in the music library, just listening to the album over and over again.
Amazing.
To find the best tracks. That's not happening now, is it?
No. It's there's so many aspects to it now. Some music to me is also to a certain degree being mass produced. But then you could talk about this, for example. Now, where streams and audio are going. I mean, my little bro, he's in St. John's. He's like, he doesn't even have a driver's license. He's in grade 9, 17 years old, and he's doing things on his iPhone. It's a whole portable studio. It's insane.
It's amazing.
And then I think about like how ridiculous it is that the whole governing of content. I mean, I've gone on social media feeds where I've seen things that 13-year-olds are looking at, which 20 years ago would have been considered like sort of inappropriate, like porn almost. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think people's what they find offensive, they've been conditioned to that as well a lot. So like, I don't mean swearing on things. Okay, here's an interesting thing. We're now completely ungoverned in terms of what we can and can't say.
Yeah, of course.
So you and I, because we're old mates, I would agree with you with the old sort of adage that I would say you and I could very easily sit here and swear and cuss and really get grabbed, but it loses some decorum, and there's an element. We wouldn't sound like gentlemen. And I think if I was a lady who was quite interesting, I'd be put off. Wanting to find us appealing.
I've been quite sort of adamant that it's
really
keep it clean. Look,
really,
I mean, if something slips out, then it's so be it. But we're not punctuating sentences with F-bombs.
No, it's kind of cool that we can.
We can. If
it's
kind of
cool.
But I like that's up to if that's your style and that's your show. Hey, whatever you want to do. But I think the fact of the matter is, there's so many opportunities to create content. Like everyone these days is a content creator. It's almost a bit annoying.
You are. Well, also, did you ever realize that the whole world's become a cameraman? I suddenly thought about that the other day. You got a concert. I mean, I know this is really blatantly obvious, but when you watch Kanye's on the stage, everybody's got the cameras because they want to capture it to show their friends where they were. But what they don't realize is they've all become cameramen. I mean, if I was a cameraman, if I was one of these guys working for DSTV, I'd be like, yeah, my man. Forget a new job.
So what do you make of this whole Kanye thing anyway?
I got to be honest with you. Okay. I'm wearing.
I know. You mentioned it. I wasn't going to bring it up.
So I've got a lot of people aren't going to like this. From a musical point of view, and what he's done with his clothing, to me, he is an artist.
Yeah.
An absolute revolutionary genius.
I think you're wearing Yeezys, aren't you?
My wife's into fashion. She's a designer, an artist, and we have a whole section of her wardrobe, which is for me, and it's all of the Kanye. I love him. I love it. Travis Scott, actually, all the stuff. Yeah. I actually love that the whole sort of athletic wear vibe, where it's sort of tracksuits, but then they're designer. Do you know what I mean? And the a gig merch as well. I think that's also so cool. But the problem is you won't let me wear it. Anyway, we're veering off. This is my opinion.
Give me your theory. Exactly.
About Kanye. I think he's at this level. There's very few people. You go, oh my man, that's genius. No, he is genius. There's very few genius. You know what I mean? In our time, in our generation, he's genius to the point that I let him I turn my eye to anything. I brush it off because I don't think he's a stupid guy. Everything's extremely calculated and clever, and to me, it seems like he's just. It's a marketing gimmick. He'll try and do the most outrageous thing he can. I mean, just to get people's attention, yes, and it'll offend a lot of people, and he'll probably come out later on and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and blame his mental health or whatever it is. But what people don't realize is when you start replying or forwarding it or making comments, you're actually buying into his clever mechanic of it, just
Well, here we are talking about it.
Here we are right now. There we go. It's millions
exactly.
of people, exactly. But and this is the bit which I've said this, and a lot of people find it offensive. He's at that level where I almost feel like he can just he can do whatever he likes, and he's still. Listen to his music. No. And then we're back to music.
Back to music. Makes the world go round.
Yeah, there's certain people.
So what are you listening to at the moment? Where does your influence come from? Because I think a lot of people get to hear Roger Goode wherever he is, but they don't actually get to know Roger Goode.
Oh, my house.
What have you got playing in the background?
I really am.
In your cave.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a collector.
The Raj Mahal. No, I'm... if you ever came to my house, everybody goes like, "Jeepers, do you like this?" There's no. I mean, the other day we were in the car, and it's the station where at night they play the R&B old school, and then at night they play a lot of classical music. I know I can talk a lot about classical music, about the Mantovani Orchestra was on, and I'm like, can't believe when last I heard this. Where are the fountains? My little brother's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, Shazam there, my man. And it was the Mantovani Orchestra. Who the hell is it? I was like, jazz. I love indie bands. Just music. I just love great songs. I could listen to, with tiny pinches of salt, I could listen to an opera.
Yeah.
And if there's melodies or notes that strike a chord, professionally, I get hired to go and entertain people at a party. Mm-hmm. That's how. That's what my, that's what DJs do. But there's other. I love music. I like to learn. I'm still trying to learn how to play the piano properly. I like remixing things and playing with samples and screwing around. My wife comes down sometimes to my studio. She's got the most beautiful voice. That's another thing. Before she and our time on this planet's over, I have to record an album with her.
Come on.
You have to.
Now you've put it out there.
She's incredible.
Do you have a particular artist or a song that makes you go like, "This is why I love music," or this is why I do what I do"? Because say what you like, my journey in radio and broadcasting is very different to yours, but it's kind of met somewhere in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
The SABC, I suppose, that sort of space, but. There's got to be something that got you fired up, that was that inspiration, that moment.
It's an impossible question to answer. I can't give you one
give
song.
Me 2 or 3.
Okay, I'll give you one. One right now, if I had to choose any song to listen to, Niniola, Maradona. Oh, Maradona, Maradona me.
You see what I did there?
Football, no, Maradona, Niniola. There's jeepers. There's
too much.
It's so many incredible. You know what's really amazing is demos I get sent from like kids in their bedrooms who've heard my show, and here's an interesting thing. Back to the radio and then back to the show or whatever I've done online or digital. About DJs. When last did you listen to a DJ say the words to you, "I'm going to play you something now you've never heard before"? And they play you something that you've never heard before. In fact, they'll play you something that's never been played on a radio station because they're so into digging into crates and finding tracks, whether it's old or new. So that was my problem when I started this. Is I realized that if you're going to be on the radio, you've almost got to be to really be successful. You have to be the DJ's DJ.
So you've got to set the trend, or you've got to come up with a new...
But the problem was it became a disease and became this problem that I created for myself because every weekend you'd go and do a radio show and you had to firstly better the one before, and you had to make sure that you were keeping up this consistency where you were selling yourself as a trying to be on the bleeding edge of playing your new music night to keep it up, and it became this like
the coolest of the cool kids.
I've had to hire producers and assistants. At one point I had like 2 or 3. Actually, I had a girlfriend. It started. I had a girlfriend who loved doing it, and then it evolved into that's what you have to do. Almost a MIDI radio station because there's so much music coming out, and it's just getting worse and worse now. So but back to that, the best way to find new music, I find somebody will listen to my show and go, oh, okay, so this is quite a unique thing. This guy actually does just kind of choose whatever he wants to play, which is another thing. When last did you listen to radio DJ actually choosing what they want to play?
Ways.
So when like back in the day when managers would come to me and go, listen, do you want to make the transition? Would you ever do a breakfast show or a lunchtime show? I was like, are you insane? I cannot think of anything. That's the most uncool thing I can think of, because what, you're going to select the music for me and I got to sell it?
And who wants to wake up at 4 a.m.?
I mean, Bieber's cute and all, but my man, there's very few of his tracks that I'm just saying, I'm going to sell it and back and out. Anyway, we ended up doing that at a time when I was told by Suits that, like, listen, and I'm not going to go into the whole 90% cloudy thing, but people know that we were under. Well, I was told we basically, you were in a time now in this world in my head, which should be rock and roll, fun, exciting. It should be a show, not here's 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Anybody that's doing 5 in a row shouldn't have a license. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
not on a 5 in a row show or drive time show.
Ridiculous. Anyway, so. Now we're told, okay, well, you're only going to play local music. So I thought to myself, well, what are we going to sell? The only thing we can sell is content.
Yeah.
So now, and that was when you and I were doing the show together at the same time. So you remember how I used to run myself ragged. CS and I would walk out of the building and go stand in the parking lot for an hour, and he'd sit and listen to me like a shrink and listen to me bitch and moan and complain about all the nonsense and these policies and all the all the stuff in the corporate level that's behind radio that people don't realize.
Yeah.
It's enough to drive you.
Video killed the radio star. It was Cloudy killed.
Well, but he and that's a whole thing.
But that's a whole. I mean, we're not going to get into it.
Bore everyone. It's just what's amazing is just like, I think what should be most concerning is the fact that somebody decided, okay, let's put him in, and that's happening everywhere across the board. It's just people that shouldn't be in the positions. I think he should have a show. I would give Cloudy a show. I think it would be a hit, and I'd give Julius a show. I think if they've both missed their calling, don't get me wrong, politics aside, tell me you wouldn't sit and watch a show. If they give Julius a show.
Julius doesn't have a show.
They should give him a show.
Well, he's got a platform every time.
I'm talking like a carte blanche time slot where the whole country's. I'm telling you, it would be a hit.
Where he interviews people and all sorts. Imagine.
It would be hysterical. He is, because you got to admit, I sit and watch him just to hear what he's going to say. He's outrageous.
Because you actually don't know what's going to come out.
Back to the show, back to the radio is new music that's being created by kids in their bedroom who maybe listen to me and gone, okay, so this guy actually, if I send it to him, he actually would just play it without having to go through this whole. And that's where you start hearing. So that's to answer your question about the music I'm into. Yeah. I actually, to answer that, I like to listen to songs I've never heard before. Okay. How about that?
Yeah. Okay, got you.
Okay,
last one on the music. Last one on the music, and then I want to get into nitty gritty. No, not so much that, but we can, any another day. Talent-wise in South Africa, we've seen Black Coffee. You mentioned a whole host of these guys. We have got some serious music talent here. Is it a case of them just getting a platform, or how does it work? Because you've been there, budding musician, looking to find your place, and boom, you had a track.
Sure.
But now, currently in South Africa, where do they send you the demo? What do you do? You know what I mean?
on a
and talent, because there is talent.
Sure, on a low level, on my sort of nonsense, sure, if watching this and you were interested in music or producing your own stuff, it's not difficult to find people. I'm always listening to new demos, just because you'd be a fool not to. You never know what's going to come. But I might have misunderstood your question, but I think also the evolution of why it is suddenly that South Africa is getting this recognition, and it's I may or may not be correct. My experience with it has been for we were always at a geographical disadvantage in many things. Yeah. Industry, imports, exports, you know what I mean? Oil.
Servers for gaming.
Right. And the internet and the advancement of fiber optics and technology has made it that we are now no longer, geographic location is now irrelevant. So what that's done is it's made access to record labels that are powerful overseas and musicians here it's an instant thing. And the technology on home studios has evolved. In light years, because people can buy a computer you can download some software, dunk like
yeah,
this.
you're good to go.
So it's a global scene.
So are you excited about
very
this?
much? Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, also then I'm also like, what's next?
Yeah.
What's beyond the MP3? Well, I mean, what's beyond Instagram? Let's think about that for example. Because that's not Instagram's going to run its course or evolve into something. What is beyond
decentralization of social media?
Okay, the jeepers. This is a whole
potentially.
Okay.
Could be. I'm just saying is that next?
What is the evolution of a cell phone, for example? I mean, what a phone can do. Okay, they're talking about goggles and the interesting things you could do. It becomes a sci-fi movie. But music, MP3s, formats, technology. These are all things that are going to evolve. And I always find it fascinating I wish I could be one of the people who's always on the cusp of it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, can I say something? You've got to give Gareth Cliff his dues and his credits, because what he did, he was miles ahead of everybody else. Yeah. I know, like everybody, always rip me off because I impersonate him and whatever. But he's an extremely clever guy, and I'll give him hats off to him because the balls you had to have to be able to say I'm going to do this irrespective and go out there.
Hats off,
always take my hats off to him. And now look at it.
He left one of the biggest shows in the country at the time.
Yes, and they were throwing money at him to keep him.
Exactly.
I heard, and he was like, no, this is it, and good for him. So I always take my hat off to him. And talent-wise, it's worth mentioning, when I said to you, when last did you listen to a broadcaster or a DJ or somebody sitting behind this thing that rocked you? I mean, who?
That's what I'm asking.
Who?
I mean,
I'd say
a few out there.
I used to love listening to Eusebius McKaiser. Now, I'll tell you, he used to, and he was very clever. He'd wind the audience up. He'd get them. He was very clever at triggering them. Incredibly clever guy. Well read. I mean, all he did was read books. Most fast. I mean, if you could ever go to a dinner with somebody, I reckon Eusebius would be brilliant. Okay. His radio show was incredible. I used to love listening to him. Gareth as well. You can say what you like about Gareth. Gareth effortlessly can sit here and just waffle, and it'd be interesting to sit and listen to him.
Another guy,
and you worked with him as well, so you'd know.
Another guy, and I was also fortunate to work with him, was Rian van Heerden, who I think is one of the best this country's ever seen. Just a storyteller. You sort of latch onto every word.
Love that.
And that's why I said there's not many people that do that anymore.
Two more I'd mention if you are out there it's sort of, if you're really serious about just sort of current affairs, touches on politics, very well read on, just even down to like what the trade exchange is having an effect on, small businesses and all these kind of things. Ayabonga Trawe.
Okay.
I'll give it to Metro. He does a talk show. He's a really clever guy. A young guy, goes out, parties, hits the clubs, but he sits behind that mic. It's like really, really. I get to wave at him through the glass every evening when I'm in the building. But he's I love it. And then Rock and Roll Factor, which has always been my favorite. I would say somebody that's always been, whose brain works like mine, is Thibaut Touch.
Okay.
So Touch, and then that's it. I cannot think of another radio DJ or anybody that's in this business that's on that kind of Howard Stern-y, just laugh and actually says stuff. One more thing, this is nonsense where they'll go, you remember, somebody's come up with this idea that you have to have the 4 people in the studio.
Yeah.
So, and the sports and the news, I get it. Traffic, you could automate that. But
sometimes place filler.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you'll have somebody who's really just diligent, terrified to lose their job, so they're going to do everything really neatly, and then they'll say something with a tone that sounds like, it's a funny moment to laugh, and then the 3 sidekicks burst out laughing hysterically at something that wasn't funny or clever at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick to death of it. That's what I'm trying to say. When last did you actually listen to somebody say something that was like, wow, my goodness, that is brilliant. Why aren't you doing stand-up comedy? Okay, let's talk about something else now. I'm sorry to sound a bit jaded. I'm not. I'm critical.
But that's where it is right now.
I'm critical. I'm like, if you're going to give somebody this thing, this should be, let me tell you something. Microphones should be reserved for newsreaders and funny people.
Not politicians.
No, you shouldn't be allowed.
So to end off this part, broadcasters are born, not made.
I think you've got to have that spark, fresh, Thando. Thando, you can give it to Thando Thabethe. She walks into a room, she just explodes. She sparkles.
When she was doing traffic.
Okay, there's an interesting thing. So Thando started, and ask Thando Thabethe. She started reading traffic for us. Look at her now.
I said to her.
You said, listen, we're not precious about you. You're going to be here but to the end of your contract, and they're going to move you. And they did. And she said to me she loved it because she said it was like going to university. She sat there in that circus that we were doing. It was really sweet.
We had fun.
Yeah, but I mean, look
She's
at her.
done
Let
so
me tell
well.
you about
She
brand
really
power.
has, eh?
Thando, if you're watching this, she's brother and sister. I see her on the plane. I can't stop talking to her. Thando will go and take a photograph of her shoe that she's decided to wear for the day. And it'll go like 30, 40,000 likes. And the thing's ticking. It'll tick like Trump's did during the freaking, the midterms 5 years ago. And then you've got huge commercial brands that'll go and post like an interview with somebody big and like 3 likes.
But what I like is she's also taken that platform and she's become an entrepreneur too with her various things. So hats off to Thando. She's done an amazing job.
She is somebody that men and women in this country should use as a metric or a sort of as a compass.
You need to get her on the show.
Okay, but for you they'll be easy. He's saving
fun.
it for the big. He's saving it. Save it for when
All right. So,
okay, let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about fatherhood.
Yes,
because it changes you.
Yeah.
And I mean, have you got the nappy down?
Well, nobody ever said to you that nobody's ever come to me and said to you, well, that you can't use an entire box of wet wipes to change one nappy. It's like, I'm not good at the moment. My wife is going to watch this. So I'm not going to lie. My wife is. She's phenomenal. She's all over this child, and she is just I think women in general have just there's this maternal magic, and I don't know about you. I'm the moment she arrived at the house, I've been terrified of her. I terrified to hold her. I was worried I was going to drop her, and you know what I mean.
It's so brittle, hey.
And then as she keeps getting older, she scares me because this girl in particular. You must admit, if you look at me, you'd be like, "Jeepers, what kind of kid would he make?" And then my wife's also like, it's complicated. So complex in her incredibleness is what I mean.
She's an artist.
Yeah, so this child we've made is Jeepers Creepers. She's
busy,
wild and crazy and just she's frustrated. She can't crawl, can't talk to us, can't tell us what she wants, what's hurting her. Wants to walk, wants to run. It's insane. So this is even every time I see this, it terrifies me. And for my birthday. And something I haven't spoken about, but I think I'd like to with you because when I'm around you, I feel like I'm in this safe. I actually don't think it's weird. It doesn't feel like we're on a. No. It's quite nice. Isn't that nice?
It's awesome.
And that's what the magic of this is now.
100%.
Because I think that answers the whole question about broadcasting and why radio shows are suffering.
When we first met, When we first met, I was like, oh my goodness, that's Roger Goode, because at the time. I was still a fan. But
that's cool.
I saw you, I was like, because on Gareth's show, it's Gareth's show and everything like that, and have an absolute blast.
Yeah.
But then I was like, at the meeting, I was like, that's Roger Goode, that's so cool. I wonder what it's like to work with him one day.
And then
lo and behold, we sat at that coffee shop.
Jeez, we had fun, eh?
And
come on.
No, we did have fun.
Come on.
We're not going to tell him about...
No.
No. We...
And it's the stuff... You do.
That was all good, clean fun. Of course. But anyway... The fact of the matter is...
Wild. Let me tell you about him. He's got this... And yes, he is. The decorum and the... standby. The whole... he's really is a gentleman. But, when you and I were let loose...
No, we had fun.
Yeah,
we did run away from a producer the one day.
Sheepers. We've done some stuff.
Anyway, but... Look,
okay, okay, go.
But the fatherhood...
Yes, fatherhood. And then
it does change you.
It did. And here's one for you. So it was my birthday yesterday. And
22nd.
25th. Yeah. Is this loaded? Okay. If this is 25th of October is my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife...
35 on the 25th.
Yeah. She had she gave me this ring. So I love rings. And she gave me this ring and she had it made. And on it, she said the words gratitude, intuition, manifestation, and abundance. And then on the inside, she's had the date printed of when I stopped drinking.
Okay.
And I had to cut out. I mean, people don't realize there's certain people are wired differently, and this business it looks incredibly glamorous. So there's one side of it which is the traveling and the performing. Yeah. I mean, you remember.
I stood in the DJ box as a sports guy looking at this. Thousands of people. You had them literally.
What comes with the lifestyle of DJing, whether you're wired, and I think what I've learned is, when I was younger, I used to sort of dismiss mental health issues as a sort of whimsical. I was like, oh, jeepers.
But how we grew up also, it was something you didn't talk about.
No, and that's something.
It's like cowboys don't cry.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. I think at the forefront of one of my, if there's anything I can do while I'm here now learning what I have, is if anybody if I ever come across anybody that says I'm really struggling with my mental health, I'll stop whatever and do whatever I can, because I've been through, and I never thought ever a guy like me who is so, I mean, I wake up and I'm just full of joy and love, and I just want to go make people laugh, and I'm colorful, and what this business can do to you, wear you down, and it looks very glamorous from the outside, but behind the scenes, anybody that does this, whether you're any kind of entertainer, an actor, a musician, a member of a band, a drummer, comedian, jeepers, it's brutal.
It's
brutal. You can say what you like. Come on.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, what you do, if somebody's watching you and consuming your content, you're entertaining them. That's the way I see it. Or informing them. Behind the scenes, it is a brutal, horrible business, and the people, for some reason, that are attracted to it are also all very complicated. And anyway, so
there's no high though. There's no high. Like when you switch on that mic and you are alive, like that studio, and especially when you hang out with people that just make it so much fun. There's no drug.
There's nothing
that beats that.
And
you can't explain that until you actually there in that studio at 6 o'clock or whatever time it is. Boom.
Yeah.
But that's really nice. That's beautiful.
That's really
sweet.
That's a really nice touch. Yeah. But I think the essence is it's a slippery slope, and you can get caught up in just. Also, there's a rock and roll element to it. I mean, sometimes you're traveling for 5 days.
You did show in Ibiza for crying out loud.
Okay, I've done Ibiza 7 times.
Yeah.
I've done radio shows from Inside Cafe Mumbo. I was sitting there waiting for Pete Tong on the BBC Radio 1 to finish his show so I could go in there and try and do. I mean, I was so. We did a. Listen to this, just to give you an idea of how easily you can get sucked into the negative side of it. We once went on a. I'm not going to bore you with how I got invited onto this thing. We went on a private plane with Rihanna, and a very select group of people from all over the world, from countries. I mean, Germany, Stockholm, MTV, China were there. It was almost so surreal. You couldn't believe it. And this plane basically was a traveling. They did it once with the Rolling Stones years ago. What was the Beatles? I can't remember. They tried this once, and it was very effective back in the day when you only had print, right? So this was interesting because now you had, the start of social media, which was big, but then also just digital. The fact that you could write an article and then send it to the publishers, and they could have it printed by the time you were landing. I'll explain. So flew from here to Washington, D.C., got on the plane, met everybody, got on this plane. It was a Boeing 747, kitted out with... I mean, I'm just trying to remember. We had to sign a disclaimer. There were
big hit.
Yeah, there were.
It was kitty.
It was insane. There were bars. I sat next to the editor of Rolling Stone magazine. That was my chair.
That's
I sat with this guy, and he was. I mean, we stay in touch now. He was the most incredible, fascinating guy I've ever met. I mean, it was so much fun. And this is what the plane did. Now, just in fact, imagine this. Plane took off in Washington, D.C., flew to Canada, landed. Everybody got off, got onto a bus, went to the concert, watched her do her show. Private, exclusive, invite only. But it was big. It was like 2,000-3,000 people. But to get the tickets, it was on the day sold out. Watch the show, partying, wild, get back on the bus, go back to the plane. Plane takes off, flies to Mexico. Lands in Mexico. Everybody gets off. Everybody gets in buses. And also not commercial transit through normal, through private charter entrance, special passes for passports, agencies, whatever it costs.
That's VIP.
Mexico through the bus, night, through Mexico City, wild, in, police escorts. Concert, watch the concert, finish the concert, get back on the bus, go back to the plane. Plane takes off, flew to Europe, landed. It did the same thing. Germany, took off. Stockholm, Sweden, took off. Paris, took off. London, took off. Back to America, New York. Jay-Z was there. That's
mad.
No, non-stop. No, stop, get onto a hotel.
Yeah.
So you, if you wanted to crash, which everybody would have to at some point, you'd catch some sleep on the plane. So the plane was, your chair was your designated hotel room.
Yeah.
But can you imagine what went on that trip? It was,
man.
We did the same thing to Ibiza once. We did to Ibiza, fresh, euphonic, black coffee, everybody, the stations, all the radio stations. It was insane. Back in the day when Liebenberg and Danny Kaye were on the cover of Heat magazine. You remember all those days? Invite only 200 select VIPs on this plane to Ibiza, and then No, all expenses.
That's
I mean, nothing was spared. VIP, mezzanine areas. They book out the whole of Pasha, the whole of Amnesia, the whole, bottle service in absolute.
You spiral quickly.
Insanity. And and this has been my life for 25 years. And it's a incredibly difficult thing to balance that side of it. And then there's a corporate element to it, which there's a business side of it. There's you're running your own business, you're maintaining a brand, you're trying to stay relevant, young, you're trying to, it's a trip.
But
and then you've got to try and sit and explain to somebody what you do for a living.
Exactly. But
weddings.
But the ring symbolizes something now. It's a change in your life.
And sorry, all of this is the baby. Because I think, and I won't get into my personal childhood or whatever, but I don't think there's anything worse than for this. I wouldn't want this little girl to see daddy stumbling around the house, coming home. It's already difficult. You're coming home from a club now at 6 a.m. and you've got to try and then wake up and spend. You know what I'm trying to say? I'd like her to, in 20 years' time, look back at me and go, wow, I so love my daddy. I'm so proud of him. He's such a nice... Jay?
No, 100%.
You've got that right.
Yeah, look.
You've got that right. And we wouldn't have to talk about... I always remember we talk about anything except my boy. But
we worked out.
He looks at you and he's like, look at my dad.
We have a special relationship.
I admire
my champion.
And it's a difficult thing to get right.
But that's happening in your life right now.
I hope so.
And I think your daughter can be very proud of you because... as we're wrapping up here, the biggest thing is you took a stand to change your life. And you've changed it because right now the Roger Goode I see in front of me is the most comfortable in his own skin that he's ever been.
Thank you.
You know what I'm trying to say? Seriously.
That's nice.
We've been through some stuff. We've chatted a lot about stuff that's happened. But where you are now to where you were a couple of years ago, bud, you're in such a good space. And I wish you all the best for everything. And you're doing such a wonderful job.
Thanks. And
I can't wait for the music to come out.
No, it's going to be...
You're going to send... Please can I have it first?
Sure. Yeah, I just hope it's something you like. But also, thanks for... another thing I would sort of say is friends in this business are very hard to come by. Actual, real friends that you develop. Do you know what I mean? Business is a weird thing. Working in an office, you would be forced to spend time socially with people that you normally never would.
Yeah.
But in this business, I have a tiny little list of people in my life who I'm always like, really, CS and I go way back. If you were ever arrested for something, I'd be the guy you call. I'd be there.
I'd definitely be in touch.
So I really appreciate you.
No, thanks for coming onto the show, man.
Crap. Yes, there's one.
You had to get it in.
It's so good that we still,
100%. And I'm going to get you back on the show.
Cool.
And then what's next for you? What? I know you sing about the Soul Candy.
Well, that's one aspect of it, but also
what drives you? What do you want to do? Okay, we got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I realized not so long ago that I am a walking broadcasting machine. I can do everything from programming. Programming, imaging, voiceovers, radio. I can mentor people. I could teach people bad things, good things. I could run programming. I could do music compiling. I could do client interfacing. I could go and sit with the client and tell them, well, this is actually how you should spend your money. This is an example of how you should. And a mobile walking radio station
one-stop shop
in a world which is exploding with different ways to manipulate media and entertain people and trick them into buying stuff and making a brand shine or making or having a go at something or making light of something or using parody or satire and there's always and just if you ever want to be inspired, just go and hang around with a kid who's just entering into their teens and has a smartphone. Because that's really, if I was a market researcher on technology, that's what you should really just be focusing on. Yeah. What is the average 14-year-old doing with their phone? Because that's probably going to become a multi-billion rand source of revenue. Anyway, there we go.
Last one.
Okay.
One moment in your career that stands out for you that made you just feel I'm doing the right thing. This feels right. Do you have one moment, a guest maybe you interviewed? Because you've interviewed some rock stars.
We had Timbaland.
Yeah.
We had
Ciara was in.
We've had. The guests. The problem with the guests is that they come in as it's a promotional thing. Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of mechanics behind.
We had the Sexpo
interview
there one day.
Yeah. You know what I loved was watching Warris with those two. He had two strippers in the studio and they were doing the thing with the boobs. What did it? Touch had his prostate examined on the air. I thought that was hilarious. This is the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah.
If I was listening to radio, they don't do this anymore. They don't allow it because they're terrified.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think it's just because there's so many fun things. It's that high.
Yeah.
This is the only way I can really describe it. When you are in front of a huge amount of when you're at a live gig and firstly the responsibility that they've given you when you're a headliner on a big show where you're in charge of a big crowd where people have spent money, where the promoters have spent money building the show. You're under enormous pressure to deliver, to rock the place and to control the place. And when you can get it right and you're surfing and you've got that wave that high, it's better than any drug. It's better than any amount of tequila you could. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. It's like when we were on the radio, when we were doing the shows together, and you just nail it, and then you go into the song where we all like literally switch the mics up and go like get the recording of that, man. Anyway,
that's the feeling. Right?
I think that's the only way to answer it. And there's been lots of those. Anyway, love you. Okay,
nice one, bud. I really appreciate your time, Roger Goode. Thank you very much for everything. And your hair looks amazing.
Thank you. There's a lot more going on here than just, his wife is a beard. It's all for the aesthetic. Really, there's man love. I'd kiss him now. I would, but he won't do it. It's like the sponsors.
We did it once.
We did it.